Feminism is a range of social and political movements and ideologies that aim to define and establish the political, economic, personal, and social equality of the sexes. Feminism incorporates the position that societies prioritize the male point of view and that women are treated unjustly within those societies. Efforts to change that include fighting against gender stereotypes and establishing education, professional, and interpersonal opportunities and outcomes for women that are equal to those for men. Feminist movements have campaigned and continue to campaign for women's rights, including the right to vote, hold public office, work, earn equal pay, own property, receive education, enter contracts, have equal rights within marriage and maternity leave. Feminists have also worked to ensure access to legal abortion and social integration, and to protect women and girls from rape, sexual harassment, and domestic violence. Why is feminism needed now? In fact, a whole bunch of still pressing global problems are related to gender inequality. In many countries, the quality of life still depends on gender, both the extent to which you can independently choose your life path and what further opportunities society and the state provide. Violent customs. Women from all over the world are still subjected to humiliating and deadly procedures today. Girls are given in marriage without asking consent, still from the family. Women are killed by their relatives, calling in honor killings. Modern feminism is also fighting for the fact that women can independently manage their lives and their bodies, and the fight against violent customs is one of its important tasks. Gender gap at work. In many countries, the ideas of career equality are formerly widespread. Each person is free to decide for himself how he wants to work and whether he needs it all. But in practice, gender still has significant impact on career opportunities. Gender inequality manifests itself in gender wage gap, glass ceiling, and the fact that women and men need to make an equal effort to achieve the same job. During interviews and in the process of work, women often experience other difficulties. They face harassment and discrimination. In addition, women often have to combine work with childcare. Reproductive violence. The decision to give birth or not should belong to the woman herself, but supporters of pro-life movements refuse to give them such an opportunity. Opponents of abortion believe that there can be no justification for termination of pregnancy, and they seek to protect, first of all, the unborn child, and not the rights, life, and health of the woman herself. In attempts to deprive women of the rights to abortion and oblige them to forcibly give birth to children, the idea is lost that the desire to leave women without the rights to choose is violence against them. Rape. There are still no accurate statistics on rape, because victims are often afraid to talk about their experiences, and the topic itself is surrounded by assorted myths. For example, the existence of some kind of correct, safe clothing, and only a strange can be a rapist, although very often victims face violence from friends and even close people. Another huge problem with the culture of violence is shifting guilt and shame onto the victim. Feminism brought the problem of sexual violence out of the shadows, calls on to discuss and solve it. It's not easy at all to tackle this, but it's important to get started. Building support networks for women, safe spaces where you can talk and get real help. Sexual exploitation. Trafficking in women and children accounts for the bulk of the multi-million-dollar annual human trafficking. As noted by the International Coalition Against Trafficking in Women, 87% of victims are victims of sexual exploitation. Feminism also examined how the prevailing model of society shapes the demand for sex services. Limited access to education. According to the UN, girls often fail to get an education because their parents think it is more profitable for them to invest in boys' education. Girls, on the other hand, are supposed to do more housework and they are more likely to drop out to devote themselves of their family. Lack of education, in turn, does not allow women to get beyond a rather limited range of activities. Their task is to lead the house, prepare for marriage, and bear the children. Domestic violence. It includes not only physical or sexual violence, but also psychological and economic pressure. According to the WHO, about 30% of women in a relationship in the world have experienced physical or sexual violence by a partner during their lifetime. Combating domestic violence is one of the main goals of modern feminism, and here society faces many tasks: conducting large-scale research, informing about the problem, creating crisis centers, and organizations helping victims.